Welcome, everybody. Another episode of Northeast Hunt and Film. Coming at you this week with a few members from Northwoods Whitetails. We got John Moulton, we got Jeff Doyle, and Dustin Martin. We recorded this one down at Hunt Stock. And we talk tracking, mostly all tracking. Grunting at bucks while tracking, shooting bucks in their beds, closing that final distance, that last 100 yards that everybody struggles with. Guns, scopes, and ammo. Leaving the track and circling using the wind, which I want you guys to pay specific attention to Dustin's strategy here. I think it's super interesting. He'll leave the track, depending on the wind, he'll leave the track, walk 100 yards away from the track, go up 100 yards, and then back towards the track. And if the track's still moving, he goes right back out his track, up 100 yards and back in, and just kind of sections it off. It's a super interesting take that I'm definitely gonna try this year. Hopefully. There's no definites when it comes to tracking snow, but hopefully this year we get some good stuff. Make sure go follow those guys on social media and check out the YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description for the film they did in partnership with Leupold. November, A Month in Pursuit. Really well done film that you guys will like if you haven't seen it yet. I'll leave a link to Jeff's videos too. He's got the Tracking 200 series and really good self-filmer and good content. So check those guys out. I got a little bit of something I want to get off my chest. It's kind of been weighing on me all year long, and haven't really found the appropriate time to say it. So here goes. Folks, deer season's next week. There. Oh, it feels good to get that off my chest. It's officially, we can say it now, deer season's next week. Next Thursday, the 15th. I am excited about it. I get to hunt opening day, and then I'm busy the next 2 days with work, and I got a wedding and stuff. So I'll be out opening day, and then that Sunday evening. I don't have any good morning spots that early in the year that I would feel comfortable with. It's just the deer up and about at that point, and there's really no midday activity unless you were, right in a bed, a bedroom, whatever you want to call it, a bedding area. But I just feel more comfortable with the evenings that early in the year. So I'm gonna get out and do some bear hunting. Kind of get the hunting season itch out. I got a couple locations I think could produce bears, apples, and some standing corn. But who knows? I'm not real big in the bear hunting thing. I spend so much time trying to figure the deer out that, I don't really have any picked out or patterned or whatever you want to call it, but I'll get out there and give it a shot. The weather's a big thing for me. If it's over 80 degrees, 85 degrees, I can't get into. I don't feel like I'm hunting. I don't enjoy it. It's got to be, low 70s at the most. Unless it's opening day of deer season, could be 95, and I'm still gonna go. But thanks everyone for the support. Be on the lookout this year for the YouTube channel. Please get over there and subscribe if you haven't already. And good luck to everybody opening day. Good luck to bear hunters, geese hunters, whatever you're hunting, coyotes. And shout out to Freddie. I did the last podcast I did with Mike LaFleur. he had somebody call him up that shot a bear and put a good hit on the bear. He knew big blood trail, knew the bear was dead, but gave Mike a call so Freddie could get some practice, and he just showed Mike where where the arrow was and where the blood trail started, and that's all he told him. And Freddie found him, no problem. 5 months old. So good job, Mike. Good job, Freddie. And if anybody gets into some hot water this year, give Mike a call. You can find his number on UnitedBloodTrackers.com. Maybe I'll put it in the description of this podcast. But yeah, good stuff. Good luck, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, we're live. Number 2 from Huntstock, 2022. Yeah, I got Dustin Martin, John Moulton, and Jeff Doyle from Northwoods Whitetails. And I think we're going to talk some tracking.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Sure. I'd like a little snow right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice, past few days of putting a hoodie on in the morning is a lot better than
past couple weeks have been a little
dying,
brutal.
Yeah.
Ooh, tough.
No more 90.
No.
Yep.
Nope.
Humidity.
Yeah.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Well, it's also 90. So what are you guys looking at this fall? Anything special planned or?
Actually, as I was just talking to these guys, I just bought a camper with my dad in northern Maine, and would love to be able to shoot big one on snow up right first year buying the camp. Definitely a little goal that I want to set out to.
Yeah.
Been hunting there since I was 15, or going up there a bunch with him, and we've been co-owners of another camp, but haven't really been able to go up there a lot. And now with this new camp, I'm really excited to get up there a lot more, and really want to set my goal to it and knock a big one down. Last time I got one was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. Shot a big one up there, but it's been a little bit. I want to get another big one up there.
Yeah, that's the land of the giants for sure.
Oh yeah, yep, for sure.
Yep, that North Country.
Yep.
You way north? Or?
Yep, way north in the paper company land.
Yep.
Yeah, up off the Golden Road.
Way up there.
Yeah, we have a camp up above Sabumic Lake.
Good thing though is you don't got to worry about getting tangled in too many other deer. There's not.
Well, that's exactly it.
There's not a whole lot of deer. Period.
Yep. But when you do find one, you know that you're on a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Last year I was able to get up there muzzleloader, and driving around, it didn't seem like it was too hard to find a good one and be able to get on a track and in the game right off. And 2 points didn't connect last year, but had fun doing it and was in it every single day that I was hunting up there.
Yep.
So, yep.
It was hit or miss last year too.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's one of the things that keeps me up at night is worrying about getting on a track when you have perfect conditions.
Yeah.
And even if you don't end up getting one, if you can get on that track early, that's a great way to start a day.
Yeah, Timmy always says that. He's stressed out until he finds his track, then it's like, okay, I found him.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I can spend some days if it takes that, and usually doesn't with him, but
and hoping you got the right weather to cooperate to make it work,
For sure.
Yeah, it gets cold, ice is over, and then the wind goes away. You're like, well, it'll be tough now.
Sure thing.
You run any cameras up there, Dustin?
I do. I mean, more for fun. I mean, like you don't need the cameras up there. Like, you don't know where you're going to find that track, It's more where that thing's going to go. But I have a couple up there that I just like seeing what's out there. And it doesn't necessarily need to be for that big buck. I mean, it could be a big moose or whatever is going by. Obviously, we'd love seeing those big body deer up there walking by. But and I've gotten plenty of them on cameras. But trust me, it's you not running those cameras to follow those deer. It's
just kind of explore, like extend your season a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. It gets us out in the woods, gets us scout in the woods, and looking for the sign or whenever it is, and also a good reason to get out bird hunting too when you go walk out to the camera too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
Definitely.
What do you run them on primarily?
I have a couple signposts. One is on a pretty good migration trail, actually.
Okay.
And I have left that camera up a couple years just to see what deer are coming through throughout, like after the season's over, seeing what's coming through. And I've gotten some monsters just walking through, like in December 15th or something, just headed to the yards or whatever. But let's see, a couple scrapes. I've gotten some pretty nice buck.
community scrapes,
Yep. Community
spot for
scrapes. Those are pretty fun to watch. And watching
Yeah.
them just,
You put those on video mode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All of my cameras up there I run on video.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch them just turn their head and see, every back of it. But, yep.
Some of the ones that are on stream crossings are just phenomenal for video.
Yes.
That you got that motion, and
Yep.
you can find these little kind of pinch points sometimes where their deer are just going to cross, whereas maybe it's the end of a fly or the outlet or inlet of a stream, a pond. And there's one I found up in the Adirondacks last year, big signpost rug, right like growing out of the stream, and there's a nice crossing there. I probably won't get up to put the camera on it, but I showed my dad where it was, so I'm going to give him a mission to put it up there on
hopefully
video.
the camera gets on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those signposts are definitely, I mean, they're just like a community scrape. They're good, like, inventory places.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
But putting the camera out and then getting a buck on camera that you want to go after, like, I've got a couple that I don't run a lot of cameras. I think I have 5 cameras total, and most of the time they're sitting in the house with batteries in them because I can never commit to where to drop one.
Right.
I did buy these little, couple of these little cameras. They're like micro cameras, and they take 4
Someone was
batteries.
telling me about,
They're like
I think Neil was telling me about
30,
that.
40 bucks on Amazon.
Yeah.
And anyways, I don't even worry about locking them. If somebody takes it, they take it. But I did carry one of those around last year, and I didn't end up putting my money out because I got to go back to that place to get it eventually. But with the cameras I do have, there's 3 good bucks I got on camera last year that I'm pretty sure made it. And I can't stop thinking about those. Kind of, in terms of plans, man, I'd like to go kill one of those. But, John, I know you're finding sheds, and curious how it drives you crazy to know that there's this big buck out there. It's no different than having a camera, right?
No.
Yeah.
The last camera I run on a signpost was 4 or 5 years ago, and I had 7 different bucks on it. And I went up and pulled that camera after the hunting season, found that out, and I'm looking at it, and I had an encounter with a buck, and I missed him up there tracking. Still a little sore about that. But what's funny about that piece is I've only been back a couple times. I didn't hunt it that much, but I was talking with Isaac, and we started sharing some information. He found that signpost and had a camera on it. And I just thought of all the property over there, and he came to New Hampshire, he found that spot. And we got talking. He goes, yep, well, don't bother going back because that signpost got blown over this winter. It's not there anymore.
Bummer.
But I just thought it was cool that we both had a camera up there in that same spot.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild.
In the Adirondacks, some of those signposts are so old. There hasn't been cutting for 100 years or so. And some of those black ash are just, they're worn right down to the place where the bucks had killed them. And then they, fallen over, and they're still rubbing them, even though they're like falling over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's absolute rule it out that they won't hit that, but
Right.
they might choose something else to hit.
Yeah. We're going to have to go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that just years and years of scent built into it, or they're just programmed, they know where it is, and they go there and it's fell over, and they're like, well, I'll tilt my head and do my best.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's more ash around there that they don't hit. They don't hit every single black ash. Right. There's just ones that are preferential, and those are the ones that work. And maybe even if they fall down, they continue to work them.
Yeah.
Right.
There doesn't seem to be much regeneration either. You don't see a lot of small ash.
No.
Yeah, which isn't
I don't
good.
know. Yeah.
I hunted the Adirondacks this past year for the first time, and I found a signpost up there exactly what you're saying. It hasn't been cut, and, I don't know how long it if ever. And one of these signposts was bigger than my hips around. It was just, and just the years, the generations of bucks that you see coming through there is just like impressive. And it's just, I mean, things keeps on growing. I just can't even imagine how many buck have actually hit that one tree. It's just like, holy smokes. I need to get up there to hang a camera on that tree because that'd be pretty cool to see what's coming through there.
Definitely drop a pin on that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be just hundreds and hundreds of different deer. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean the tree. I mean I'm no joke. I mean just the size of my hips is just huge. Yeah, you could tell it even has like a little gouge in it, like a little hole that just yeah.
You were talking about tracking. I tagged out in New Hampshire early with that the saddle rattled buck, and I didn't get snow in New Hampshire, so I missed my my big woods season. I didn't go to Maine last year. Hunted on snow. It was during a snowstorm in New York and then Massachusetts some, but snow wasn't very good. So I'm itching.
Yeah.
I'm itching to get on snow this year.
We need a good year.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I tagged out last day of muzzleloader in New Hampshire, day before rifle, and I did get to hunt on a little snow in Maine. Got a buck last year, but it wasn't good tracking snow.
No,
it was horrible.
Yep. Felt like any time that we finally did get good tracking snow, we would lose it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It just nothing would last.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I don't want to wish it away, but I want it early.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Muzzleloader season. Put one down on snow, over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
Take
good
that.
story right there.
Yeah, and you find him, you know he's not going to be on a, 7-mile straight line,
Oh yeah.
Middle of November adventure.
Yeah.
Find him in early November, he's going to be close.
I can't remember. Maybe we had snow the first day of muzzleloader in New Hampshire this year. Did we? First weekend?
We had rain where I was.
Okay.
It rained hard.
Because I got onto snow, I think it was early in the morning, but by like noon, it had melted out completely.
Yeah.
And I was on a good buck track that I just lost because of no snow.
Yeah. I passed a buck up the first hour.
Did you?
Opening day of muzzleloader. It was a good choice. It was a real good choice.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope I didn't wear all my luck out last year.
Was there snow on the ground when you shot that buck?
In New Hampshire, there was nothing.
Yep.
It was 58 degrees.
Yeah.
out.
Okay. I thought so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anymore.
What's the story on it?
It just, I'd been hunting pretty hard in this area and been having encounters with bucks.
Yep.
Just couldn't close the deal, and I went to the other end of the mountain in the afternoon, and it was hot, and hiked up in there, and it was so warm. I had stripped down my sweatshirt, had just the t-shirt, had the sweatshirt wrapped around me, and I am sweating like it was just ridiculous. That's when people say, "Oh, you're not going to see something." And I'm checking these softwood knobs, and I rolled off one, and there's a wicked rub and scrape line right there. And I stopped for a minute because I was sweating so much. I said, I'm just going to take a breather right here. And it was like clockwork. I was there 2 minutes, and here he comes marching right down, trotting. And he's a shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I shot, and he went right by me. And I was a little concerned with my shot at first, but I didn't know we didn't go far, and I had to have a follow-up shot or two there. So, but it was a good day. It was a good day.
Yeah.
And I had a friend within shouting distance, so the jet sled coming up in there to help me saved a lot of work.
Icing on the cake.
It was. I didn't want that cape screwed up.
No.
I was mounting that buck.
Oh yeah.
So
It's nice to celebrate with somebody after the fact, too.
it's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, when they come up through the woods, and he said, I come up over the rise, and all I could see was rack sticking up. That's a good thing.
Yeah. What were the stats on that deer?
He dressed 215, 8-pointer. He grossed 142.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to screw that cape up either.
No. I'm supposed to be
It's a hell
getting
of a
him
buck.
back right off, so I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I got 2 pedestal mounts from last year's bucks going on the same wall, looking at each other.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
That's
Guys
fun.
have any luck, when you're closing the distance, you're close, grunting or even rattling a little bit to try and lure them back. I guess it depends on the time of year.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's the move.
I know watching Jeff's videos.
I know Jeff does it. Yeah.
I've probably have called in and killed 3 or 4 bucks with the grunt tube, and I know I've rattled 3 in, and I've shot 2 out of the 3, and it's exciting. It's when you can't track and it's on bare ground. That is, to me, the way to get them. It's just exciting.
Yep.
So.
Just poking along, or you actually set up.
It depends. If it was real noisy, I would just set up.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you jump them, it's that weight and using the grunt tube for me, and then just them getting curious and circling downwind and just putting an eyeball on them. Yep. And they are curious.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Hold tight after you jump them.
Yeah.
Or even if you're at a spot where you've tracked and now you're looking over, like you've come over a little knob, right, and you've got something in front of you. If that buck's if he's bedded down or if he's just standing still, you don't see him. And before you take a few steps, if you can blow the grunt call and see him flick his tail or have him stand up out of his bed, that's what you need versus walking down in there and blowing him out.
Absolutely.
That's what I try to use it for.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but if I jump one, for some reason I grab that grunt tube and I grunt at him. I educate that buck.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work. That doesn't work.
Yeah,
I'd say don't do that.
You got an eye full of you're grunting at him. He's like, ah.
And I'm going, ma, ma. Anything, come back.
Yeah.
Please.
Just start yelling, come back.
Yeah, it's probably most effective.
Yeah.
What about you, Dustin?
I don't use it as much as I should. I really don't. When I get on a track, I am so in the game of like trying to track that deer and looking around that I should. I should definitely grunt a little bit more than I do. And yeah, I don't know. When I get on it, I go and I'm always trying to think 5 steps ahead of what that deer is doing. Where's he going? Why did he do this? Why did he stop here and look back? Why? And I'm always looking to see if he's feeding. If I see any type of feeding, I immediately slow up. Anytime I see him turn, I'm like, why is he turning? Why is he doing this? And
what's his mission?
What is his mission? Where is he going? And just trying to learn what that buck is thinking and why that day it might be different the next day or whatever it is. And not to say I don't know. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and this if there's good tracking snow, I go don't really.
Timmy's buddy said when he jumps them and they stop and they're staring back at you, he'll flip his hand like that. And I was listening to him like, that can't work. He's like, but that's what deer do when they calm. They just
the old timers would pull a white handkerchief.
Right? Yeah,
so
I've done it.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Turkey hunting this spring, I did it, and I brought a doe back to me.
Yep.
I was like, that might get tried this fall.
Yeah.
Just using my hand.
Yeah.
The first time I tried it was in Anacostia in a bog, and you flicked it, and I watched a buck march from about 300 yards away right to me.
Really?
Wow. He was a 6-pointer. I didn't shoot him, didn't kill him, but it was no question. He saw it come. This guy, my Canadian friend Christian, told me to try it, and it worked.
Wow.
And I'm like, no joke. Yeah. I'm going to file that in my book of tricks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm going to get one of those Michael Jackson gloves.
Design a white wool glove. Could be dangerous, though, if you're not wearing orange.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some hunter sees that.
Good point.
What you're talking about in the snow, and it's happened to me so many times after you jumped one. I was talking about this with Travis Williams and how each person likes to do something different. Like, I don't really like to jump them because once I jump them, I'm not successful getting that buck. I don't know why. I'd rather shoot them. Probably everybody would rather shoot them. right on the first time.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I feel like they're educated and they're much more wary from me and my own experiences. But going on that track and then seeing where they put that hoof out to the side and they're looking back over their shoulder.
Yep. I've
and
seen
then
that.
and then they're running. You know they caught you. But if you give enough time and they walk out of that, now I feel like they've settled down. Now you got a chance to catch up to them again. But
I got a question. 2 years ago, I was tracking this buck. I ended up getting a glimpse of him. This was the week after Thanksgiving. I think probably the second to last day of rifle in New Hampshire, around that time. And I was following him up this hill. I knew he had just fed. He just came from these oaks that I found scouting and thought that would be a good place to pick up a track. But so we go up the hill, get to the top. I see running tracks, and I can see where he did like a sidestep like that. So I followed him for 60 yards. Like, okay, he's running. So I went back, made a fire, gave him a half hour, 45 minutes. Continued on his track. Another 60 yards from where I stopped, he went back to walking. And I was like, oh boy. So I'm looking for his J hook, and then I hear blowing. He just walked out and bedded and took off. I saw a glimpse of his rack, and I chased him the rest of the day, never caught up to him. But could he potentially have been looking for a spot to bed, and that's what the sidestep was? He was looking around.
because you hadn't jumped him yet.
Hadn't jumped him yet. But I was wondering that because I was coming up through the open hardwoods, and when I saw him step like that, I'm thinking maybe he did see me. And the wind was switching all kinds of ways that day, or maybe he winded me or something. I assumed that was his he was just getting out of there, but maybe he just caught a glimpse of me, or a glimpse or a whiff of me, and just bounded off and then waited and nothing.
Yeah.
But he was
If they haven't
that one
confirmed,
still hurts.
right? If he doesn't know you're human, if he hears
Right.
you, let's say, or he sees a little motion, maybe he wants to put a little distance between you and him to feel that safety comfort.
Yep.
But he's not going to expend a ton of energy until he knows you're a real threat.
Right.
So he could have been one of those two. If he smelled you, he'd probably been gone. But if he just saw you, heard you, maybe. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. He just put a little distance between you to then make a confirmation.
Yep.
Yeah.
At that point, if you knew he had done that and you got out the grunt call,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden
Yeah.
you've switched the story on him.
Right.
That's a buck over there.
Yep.
Here he comes back.
Yep. Here I am just assuming. He busted me. I got to wait.
Yeah, if you've got the wind and you do that, that's when the grunt call has been really successful with me. They'll do the circle sometimes. Sometimes I've had to march right back thinking
Yeah.
you're a buck. But whatever works.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes they just ignore it.
Yep.
Have you shot a lot of bucks out of their beds?
Just one. One that I've tracked down to its bed. It was 26 yards. And
Were
that
you
was
grunting a lot? that time?
I don't think I was using the grunt call much that day, but
Yep.
I had been on the track for 5 hours, so I really kind of got to know what this buck was doing.
Yep.
And he had worked through, he'd bedded and everything. He had fed, he got up from his bed, and now he was going up onto it wasn't a mountain, just like a hill amongst the mountains in the Adirondacks. And he got up on this little plateau, and he's working his way down the end. It's not a long ridge, but kind of shaped like a oblong ellipsoid. As I was working my way down, I was expecting a lot smaller buck than he ended up being. And just the wind would blow, the beech leaves would rattle a little bit, and I'd take a few steps.
Mhm.
I was going super slow because he'd shown that he was feeding already. I was expecting he's going to be bedded down. And that was the only one I've ever caught in his bed. I know some of the guys, maybe because the Adirondacks are much more open, right, that they catch you, or you see them a lot further
Yeah,
away. But
definitely.
I'm not shooting bucks out of their bed at 8 yards. I mean, no way.
Right.
I've only had it happen a couple of times
Yep.
in all the years I've been doing it. It's the perfect opportunity, with cover or something. I did do it one time with a bow on the ground in the rain.
Wow.
That's
But
awesome.
I
Wow.
watched the buck bed, and then I took an hour to close the distance.
That's a fun
So,
hunt.
but that would only happen because it was the perfect chance when I saw her in bed.
Yep.
I was just lucky.
Yep.
Is what it was. But that was in Pennsylvania years ago. But that's a rush. It's fun.
Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yep.
On the ground with a bow.
Yeah.
Just creeping.
Yeah.
I want to track one with even just a doe or something, just to track one with a bow. But I can imagine that's got to be challenging.
I've been out there arrow knocked, walking around in the snow late season in New Hampshire. I don't know. Like you said, if you shoot anything,
Yeah.
it'd be quite a trophy.
Yeah. Just to, I don't know. But then if it's during, like, how hard do you go? You're not going to do it during gun season.
Right.
Unless you were really dedicated.
Or if you're tagged out with your rifle tag.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, the season runs
That's
through.
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I imagine that'd be frustrating after a while trying to,
Yeah.
I can't think of too many shots that I've taken while tracking that are not through brush, through something,
Yep.
right? And that's the other thing. I wouldn't want to, the bow and arrow, like, you don't have any quality follow-up shots if something goes wrong.
Right.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. If you do close the distance and get an opportunity, is it going to be clear?
Right.
Yep. What are you guys using for guns?
I have a 308, 7600.
All right.
Yep. Remington. Yeah. Yep.
7600 carbine with a Trijicon, 760 carbine with a peep, and a 1936 Marlin 32 special with a peep.
Nice.
All right.
Woodman Arms 45 caliber muzzleloader.
There you go.
Those are my
Yep.
4 weapons of choice.
What do you got on the Woodmans?
I've got a scope on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a scope laying around that I had a rifle scope on it,
Yep.
but does a trick.
Yeah, I got that. It's actually right there, that VX Freedom Leupold, the 1.5 to 4.
Yep.
And I was able to move it back enough so where you can still grab the Patriot where it's, nice and thin.
Yep.
So I got the good grip and the scope. And, 4 power is plenty.
Right.
Sure.
I like the one power. I leave it on that, and I'll maybe turn it up if I get in some open hardwoods, but
It's funny you say that, that it's plenty. I will admit, most of the time it's plenty.
sometimes.
I was just going back through trying to make a video compilation to put on the
Yep.
screen here at Huntstock, and it was the buck I shot in the Adirondacks where the 2 bucks are fighting, and I noticed on the video 3 times I tried to crank my ring up on the scope, and I'm out of
Oh, you're
power. I'm
max?
out of power
Yeah.
at 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I crank my scope up too.
Yeah.
I've caught, I think four bucks into their bed, and yeah, when I see them and I know I have time, I like when they're looking the other way or whatever, I slowly just crank it up and put it on.
Definitely.
But it's when I know I have the time, I will sit there and I will make sure of the first shot, and then I will let it go after, let
Yeah.
it rip. But I always try to make sure of the first shot. If I know I have time, I sit there and I will crank it up.
And make sure you always remember to turn it back
Oh
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because who's done that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
And turn the safety off, or turn the safety on after you've shot your buck. Right.
Yeah. That's another one, too. I'm bad about that. Luckily, I'm good with muzzle control. Because there's been times where I'm like, whoop.
Yep.
That's been off for a while.
Yep.
So you've shot 4 out of their bed, Dustin. Wow.
That's really good.
Yep.
It is.
And
Do
I
you
think
go really, really slow
so.
when you get to the
So
point?
I that's why I was asking you about the grunting, is because I don't want the deer to know that I'm there, and it's just the way that I track until he knows that I'm there. Then I wait a little bit and I try to then I get back into the game. But I really try to catch them when they're in their bed, or if I can. And I know a lot of people don't love doing it, but I sometimes like to try to make a loop at the right time. And it's been successful for me. And it's
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
it's
ask you about
knowing when to do it, and you have to have all of the elements play in your favor. Like you have to know what the wind's doing, what terrain's happening, what if this deer has been going left or right at all, And also, if it's feeding, if you're like, this deer is going to bed down here, you look up, there's this softwood top, and you're like, he's bedded right up here.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have that instinct. And if the wind's right, everything comes into play. I like to make a loop because
So you
I
loop him
tried.
downwind on
I
him?
tried, yep, and I tried to get out of his vision because seems like they're always looking back on their backtrack or somewhere where they can look down in. And I tried to make a loop, and when I come back down, I'm always searching, looking. If I don't see them and I see the track, I immediately turn around and walk straight back out the tracks that I just came down. I do another big loop up and around, and I come down searching, looking. And there's just one buck that I remember vividly of doing this. I would go up 100 yards, I would go down 100 yards, and I would come down searching for him. I would hit his track, I would walk straight back up my track, go down 100 yards, and I would come down searching for him. And then I did it 3 times, and the third time I came right down, and I came right down on top of him. And he was with a doe, no idea I was there.
Wow.
And
That's wild.
and I came down right down, and he was looking right down his track, and ended up shooting him right in the back of the neck. Just put his head right down into the snow.
I'm gonna give that a try this
So
Yep.
this is a
That's an
perfect
interesting
example.
take.
Yep. It's just
The
something that
sectioning it
it's- yeah.
off, I've never heard.
Yep.
I've heard like Hal say he'll circle 360 degrees. If he doesn't cut his track, he'll
Yep.
go 180 and come back up over. But doing it in sections, that's
Yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
just something that's worked for me. I actually did it. I tried doing it with the buck I shot this past year. And how it ended up working out, I didn't come on to him. I shot him when he was in his bed after I missed him twice, but I ended up
Yeah.
catching him when he was in his bed. But I ended up doing a big circle on him. But I ended up catching his track going down, and it just the way that it worked out, it wasn't like I did a circle on him when I shot him, but I still tried it.
Yeah.
And it didn't mess me up. If anything, if I didn't do that circle, my wind would have been blowing where he ended up, like where he was bedded when I shot him. If I stayed on his track, he would have smelt me.
All right.
And
Yeah.
so therefore, where I got off and did a loop, I got far enough away where my wind didn't blow into hit. Like he was looking one way, and the wind would have blown right over top of his head, so he would have smelt me on his backtrack, like on his track, and he would have known I was coming. But because I did the loop, I got off. I mean, like, I don't like doing it because I like to know everything that buck is doing. But if you do it at the right time, if you track enough deer and you know when to do it, it's just something that's worked for me.
So that just shows that we all do things a little bit different,
Yep.
but they all work.
Yep.
So as individuals, it would be a good time to experiment and try some of these other things.
yeah.
Definitely.
I'm cataloging them for sure.
You guys walk in the tracks?
It depends.
All right.
Yeah. I'm usually off to the side because I don't want to screw something up, or if I have a question when I get in with others.
Yes.
That's exactly it. So anytime that I'm like, I know what's happening, I will just walk in the track. But if I'm like, I don't want to screw this area up, I will go right on the side just so if I what did that buck do? I can go back and look. I can go back and look, and I didn't screw it up. But if there's if I see just a straight line, I go.
If the deer's just blasting down out of there, I don't care.
Don't care. But in crucial areas where I'm like, all right, I don't want to mess this up, I try to stay out of it.
And also the big bucks, they seem to just splice the woods apart.
Right.
Like it's like magic how they walk through the woods.
Yeah.
They pick the easiest
Route.
I'm always finding myself in some gnarly mess, but when I'm on a big buck track, it's like smooth walking through the woods.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to mess up the tracks too. Like you said, if you need to do a little investigation.
Mhm.
Yeah, because how many times have you gone and had to back up and say,
All the time.
Yeah.
whoops,
All the time.
Because another track could come in because you're looking up,
Yep.
right?
Right.
I'm doing a lot of visual out of my peripheral. I kind of seeing the track down there, and I'm trying to keep my eyes up. And all of a sudden, another track comes in. I didn't notice it right away.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you end up looking down and seeing it, but staying out of the track lets you sort that out.
Yeah.
But once you notice it was 30 yards ago because you've been looking up, and you look down like, whoa.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
Huh.
And it's also, if it's a very distinct big track and not one of those questionable mediocres, when you get into the barnyard, there's similar tracks, and sometimes you just make a loop around it. I mean, let's face it, a big track's easier to follow.
Yeah.
The skier or the
yeah.
the toe draggers,
Yep.
those ones you don't even need to look at the track.
No.
You can see that out of your peripheral so easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But running, when they get chasing, that's
Yep.
when things get complicated.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they go through those spruce and firs that are like 6 feet tall for 100 yards.
Those are fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you just got to look for where the snow's knocked off because there's no way you're going to see a track. That can get a little tense.
Yeah. And if it's a warm day and that gets all soggy, oh, you get so drenched
Oh
going
my
through there, don't you?
Yeah,
That's brutal.
40-pound jacket.
Yeah. Yep.
Will you guys try to like loop that stuff at all if it's real thick, or you just bust straight through it with them?
I don't like I mean, that's a point where I don't want to get off of it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't know if you're going to mess things up. So
And if it keeps going, you're better off to slow down,
Yep.
go real slow, and just look ahead, and just try to figure that out right there.
And they've already knocked some of the snow off the tree too.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing you a favor.
Yeah, when you got to put your head down and drive yourself through it, that's
Oh,
always
you feel
fun.
like you're swimming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got caught in such a shithole this past fall. Oh my god, one of my buddies was following me, and he was like, "Where are we going? What are we like? what are we doing up here?"
Like
Just
the
swi- I
only
mean-
way to go
oh.
is to turn around and go back out. 'Cause there's no
Yeah.
place to go forward.
And we've already gone far enough. Where like we might as well keep on going, and you're just swimming. Yep.
Yeah. How can a 200-pound buck with a big rack go through that? Well, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
When they have to.
Yep.
Yeah, Laney was saying yesterday in his seminar, good way to, if they go between two trees that are 16 inches apart, if they sidestep out, he's like, if it sidestepped out, he's got a bigger than 16-inch rack, he just tilted his head.
Yep.
He said that he's picked a lot of them apart. A lot of people would think, oh, he went through these two trees. That's how wide he is. But you look at his track, if he took a step to the side.
You'd be surprised at what they can get through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you got to think, certain areas they can't be avoiding. They get in the real thick stuff. They got to be doing some fancy maneuvers.
Yeah, I saw a video of a buck going through a barbed wire fence, or maybe it was electric fence, and big wrecked buck. This is like out Midwest someplace, but just put his antlers right through, turned his head, and then he hopped right through. Another video of a doe on her belly going under a split rail fence, just crawling.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
could have jumped over it, but I don't know why she scooted under it. So they can get down low.
Yeah.
I was tracking a buck that I like seeing where you get the tine marks in the snow.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes there's enough snow and they're feeding on. This buck was feeding on mushrooms, and it ate mushrooms, and you could see 3 up. So I was figuring it's a 10 point or half a 10 point. There's 3 tines there, and took that buck down into a swamp. And then when he came back out, the only time I've ever seen this, the mushrooms on another tree, the tree wasn't falling over, it was standing, and the mushrooms went up pretty high, and you could see where this buck must have stood on his hind legs and
Wow.
ate all the way up and down this
Yep.
tree. Yeah, and they weren't big mushrooms; they were just these little things like the size of a
Yep.
quarter.
Yeah.
No, that's all that was left that I could see up on the tree there. But
Yeah, I've seen where they've done the same thing with the old man's beard
Yep.
up high.
Yep.
oh yeah,
Yep.
They love that.
Yep. Sure do.
Yeah, a lot of in the Adirondacks, a lot of ferns and stuff like that, because there's no regeneration. There's no new stuff.
yeah. Well, you'll see some browse. I mean, you got to keep your eyes peeled for it because they'll just go over and they'll nip a bud, and you got to, you're just looking for what's missing off of that little beech sapling.
Right.
And then okay, doing a little feeding. But when they start digging in the ferns for the bulbs, or there's maybe beech nuts on the ground, now they're slowing down and actually doing some feeding.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame they can't get in there and select cut it or something. I mean, I'm not saying clear it off like northern Maine, but do some sort of logging in there, and it helps all the wildlife,
Yes,
not
it
just the deer.
Yep. Yep.
Same thing with Vermont's national forest. Although closer to where I am, they do have it flagged off. They are going to do some sort of logging in there. So
I'm okay with having them rot, having them grow up and these big old trees, and then maybe you get like a microburst or something comes in and it knocks things down.
Yep.
There's so many places they already logged that I'm okay to have a place that you can go in and
Sure.
it's a little bit different. But it doesn't create the same kind of deer potential that other places do.
yeah, another species too.
Yep. There's plenty of woods that, like, you don't even think there's a squirrel in those woods.
Right. Right.
It's a lot of barren land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it unique.
I've been in a lot of that in the national forest where there's just nothing. There's just nothing living there, and you're just motoring through it.
Yeah.
You know. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, it'll be here before we know it.
Oh yeah. Counting down the days now.
Yeah.
What do you guys use for ammo in the rifles? Yeah.
I'm a Hornady SST guy on my odd 6. I swear by it. I've had really good luck with it. 165 grain. I know there's a lot of people, it's controversial with that tip, but I've really had really good luck with it.
Yep.
I've shot deer, bear, and moose all with the same round out of the odd 6.
Is that, I'm not familiar with the SST, but is it a plastic polymer tip on it?
Polymer tip,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been shooting them for years, and I've been shooting them for years and had good luck, so I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know?
It's kind of the same, similar with me. Actually, I shot a lot of ammo when I first got my gun to see what shoots the best out of
Yeah.
it, and I just found that this Winchester 150 grain PowerPoint shoots the best out of my particular gun, or this particular gun, and so that's what I use. And every time I go to the store, I'm like, oh, they have this and this. I'm like, nope, I need this specific ammo to shoot out of this gun because I know that I've shot all of the different boxes. This is the best one that shoots out of this gun, and it definitely, as you're saying, it works. It's like,
You said that's 308.
308, yeah, 150 grain PowerPoint Winchester, yeah, it shoots the best out of my Remington. So
Nice.
yeah. Yep.
I shot a 7mm mag for years, Ruger M77 way back. Killed a lot of bucks with it.
Yep.
Heavy gun, got sick of it. And after carrying that Remington and getting used to it,
Yep.
it just sits in the gun case.
I got a couple small kids, so I jumped over to the all copper. It's the Hornady Outfitter ammo, and killed 2 bucks and a moose with it. So,
Nice.
I know by comparison, traditionally people think a copper is maybe slightly less effective, forced on some of the states out west, but I've had good luck with it and like it. I think it's like 160 something grain 308.
Yeah.
That's solid copper,
Yes.
not just copper jacketed.
Yep, solid copper. So I don't have to worry about feeding the kids anything that has lead in it.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you guys jumping on.
Absolutely.
I'll make sure and follow along with these guys this fall. Jeff's got his Tracking 200 series, and Northwoods Whitetails puts out some really good content, so be on the lookout. Team's growing. Got some good deer hunters. So,
I'm going to put the Northeast on the map here.
Oh yes. Yes, we are.
yeah, check out that Leupold film they did.
I love that.
November, A Month in Pursuit.
Yep.
It's I'll put a link in the description of this. I love those like cinematic looking films.
We'll have a couple more coming out here soon too.
Nice.
Yep.
Prior to season? Or
We're finishing them up right now, and we'll release them probably late October, November.
nice.
Yep.
You
I'm
heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure and come back and join us every other Monday with a brand new episode. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure and leave a review. And you can find me on YouTube at Northeast Hunt and Film. Once again, thanks for listening.